Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm pleased to be joined once more by one of our old friends, Joshua Williamson. How are you today, mate?
I'm doing great. I'm good. 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 How you doing?
I am very well, thank you. Very well indeed. All the better for being about to talk to you about the beautiful hardcover collected edition of Infinite Frontier. So, when you roll back, what can you tell me about the book, please, Josh?
Uh, you know, it's a act one to a really big story that we're telling in the DCU, right? Like one of the things we wanted to do coming out of death metal was I really wanted to tell a different kind of event story, right? And show an event in the DCU and these major events from different perspectives, right? So we get to see what's kind of going on post death metal through the eyes of like Alan Scott and Jade and Obsidian. And then we had brought Roy Harper back from the dead, see what was going on with him, and Cameron Chase. Um, we really wanted to, and we also have Bones in the story. We have a bunch of different characters that we don't normally get to kind of spend time with, at least in the last few years, and really show a spotlight on those characters. And it was helping us set up a lot of the pieces for the other stories we're going to be doing, like the stuff we did in Justice Incarnate and the stuff that we're doing this year in 2022. We really want to just kind of like ease people into what the post death metal world looked like for the DCU, and to use again like a much more grounded kind of point of view for that story. And really, what it's about is about a mystery in the multiverse that Barry Allen. He is exploring the multiverse, working with Justice League Incarnate, and he goes missing. And President Superman has to go and find him. And the process of finding him, well, part of the way the season starts off is because a Flashpoint Batman, Thomas Wayne, just crash lands on President Superman's planet. And it's like, who is this person? Where is he from? How did he get here? We thought he was dead. What is going on? And so it starts unlocking that there is actually a conspiracy building within the multiverse. And what it is that the other worlds in the multiverse, they are sick of Earth Zero, the regular DC universe, causing problems for the rest of the multiverse.
Yeah.
And so they're making a deal with Psycho Pirate and Darkseid, essentially, to create a barrier to make it so there can no longer be crossovers. I mean, that's really what it was about, was like, Psycho Pirate saying no more crossovers. So he's going to create barriers between these worlds. But what he has realized by creating those barriers, he's actually making Darkseid stronger. And so that's really what it was kind of about. And, we got to have a host of different artists in the book. And really just just tell kind of again, like a very fun story in the DCU, but from a different point of view, right? Like getting to see kind of what Roy was going through and him kind of, not on the run, but just not ready to go home yet, right? And trying to figure out, why am I alive and nobody else was alive? And then him getting pulled into this crazy cosmic adventure. And it was just really a lot of fun to do this mini series again from just different points of view. I mean, that's really what I was looking to do. Is I was like, every time we do these events, it's always from a particular point of view. It's either Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. And I was like, well, with this one, let's lean away from that and go look at something like 52 or the weekly series. Even looking at something like Brightest Day, again, the weekly series. Look at those and how those were able to tell kind of a story, a big story in the DCU that was kind of happening in the background. The rest of the characters didn't know about. And that's a big piece of this, is that Infinite Frontier, this hardcover, sets up that stuff. Then during the Justice League Incarnate series that's been coming out now, we get to expand on it. And then, as you know, once we get to the Death of the Justice League, all those stories that were happening on the outside, they suddenly are happening inside, and it causes a problem. So really all that starts with the Infinite Frontier hardcover. And there is the Zero issue that we did that has a bunch of different creators in there. They were all setting up different pieces in the DCU. And it really just was the beginning of the post Death Metal DCU. We started explaining what's going on with the multiverse, what's going on with Earth Zero, and building up to our next big event. And really that's the beginning of it. So if you're interested in all these big pieces that you're doing, this is the place to start reading, is with that hardcover.
What I think is fascinating and emblematic of these books that are predicated on, for want of a better description, multiversal cosmicity, right?
Yeah.
Is that what's normally a very simple question, which is, so what was your inspiration for this book, and what was the leaping off point? Nearly always delivers a massive answer.
An answer, yeah.
Yeah, you with me?
Yeah. We were talking about this stuff a lot, and I think that once you start getting into the multiverse and the crisis of it all, it's always huge, right? I mean, you look at the original Crisis on Infinite Earths and all the moving pieces that were in that, and every time we've done anything close to that, it becomes a big, complicated thing, and it definitely can be hard to navigate. But that's why with people, I'm just like, listen, it is just an event in the DCU from different perspectives. Check it out, like try there and see if you enjoy it or not. I think with that book in particular, it definitely is tied into kind of, you have to be a bit of a DC fan to understand all
Yeah.
of it. Like I try to lead you through a little bit, not too much exposition, but try to lead you in. But that's it. If you're a big DC fan, you've been a big DC fan, this is something I think you will enjoy. You'll get something out of. You'll start to see how these together, and how we're building something really big. But again, like you said, it always becomes this big answer.
Well, I think it's fascinating because I shudder to think how long I've been a hardcore DC fan for, but I think it's about 55, 56 years, right?
Mhm.
And therefore, but what I particularly love about these books, and what I love about this whole endeavor in particular, is whether it's an old dude like me or whether it's like a guy who's my son's age in his early 20s, but we're both big DC fans. There's such a lot to unpack and talk about. And
Yeah,
I would imagine there are conversations, and say the conversations I have with Rob Pontiferak at Forbidden Planet or Head Comics By, it's just emblematic of the conversations that you guys are having, your
yeah.
retreats where you come up with the story out, the guys in the comic stores around the world are having. And I think that's the beauty of it all.
Well, yeah, that's one thing that is important to me is I think a lot of times we talk about things around comics and we're not talking about what's happening in the comics. And so every once in a while, you have to blow something up a little bit to get people to pay attention to what's happening in the books again. And it's interesting because it's just like one of the things I've noticed over the last year is how often we have to blow something up, like uh, and but then it gets the conversations going, and that to me is a win. Like if we're all talking about it and we're all engaged, and having conversations and debates, and arguments about the things in the books, that is what you want. You want the readership to be engaged and to be interested in what's happening in the books, and a little worried sometimes. I think this is something I heard about years ago, was this idea that everyone a lot of people just want their characters to be safe, but the problem is once you think they're safe, you stop worrying about them, which means you stop checking in on them, which means you stop reading. And you have to be able to put the characters through drama, and that's how you reveal more about them, is through that drama and this tension, and you have to be able to put them through these kinds of events, and then people start talking about it again, and it can be scary. I always talk about being a roller coaster ride. Like you get on the roller coaster ride, it has ups and downs, but you're going to get off the ride at the end, you're going to be okay, right?
Yeah.
And that's what DC Comics has been for a long time. With these stories we're telling, it's a lot of roller coaster rides for the characters, and but I always tell them, like, listen, we're gonna get to the end, it'll be okay. Like you just gotta let us, you gotta ride the ride. And that's what this book is. This book to me is like the beginning of getting on the ride. So you're getting on the ride, we're starting to explain everything to the ride to you, and then you take off and you're gone, and we're still on the ride, and there's some pretty big drops coming. Pretty big scary drops coming.
I think that is extremely well said. For everybody watching this who wants to strap themselves in to the Joshua Williamson roller coaster, you can do it by ordering this beautiful hardcover edition of Infinite Frontier from the links attached to our conversation. It's always great to see you, mate. Thank you for joining
Me
me.
too. Yeah, thank you so much.
Take care. If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.